Do you build a personal brand or do you build a business brand? That's a very common question we get, Josh, all the time by business owners, and it's a quite hot topic. I think Gary Vaynerchuk's talked about it, several other influencers and YouTubers have talked about it in their videos as well too. And we're gonna cover that topic in this video. Now, Josh is Canada's top-rated CPA and most sought-after CFO. Josh and I have been running businesses. We've been helping business owners to grow and scale. You put on a business bootcamp, which is we do that a couple times a year, as well as also we help companies to buy and sell businesses, which then leads us to this topic today. So if you haven't already watched some of the other videos that we have done in this series, go ahead and click the I button, check that out. Hit the subscribe button, so that you don't miss any of these videos that we're putting out. We're putting out lots of tips and also dispelling a lot of the myths. Now, I have in front of me here, Josh, part of your manuscript from your book in which you cover and you tackle some of these myths that business owners say. Myths. I can't say that fast very well, but there's a famous quote, and then I'll jump right into the question here, Josh. If people like you, they'll listen to you, but if they trust you, they'll buy from you. Now, who knows who said that? It's the late Zig Ziglar. And Josh, what are your thoughts on when people come to you and say, hey, Josh, I just don't want to put my face on a business. I want to build something that I can eventually sell. And if I'm attached to the business, then probably I won't be able to sell the business.
It's a common thing that most people, they'll come with. And they come for it sometimes because of that reason. Sometimes because they're just a little bit introverted and they don't want to be that face.
Right.
Sometimes it's a bit of both, right?
Okay.
And they're using A to justify B. They're using, well, if I don't put my face on the business, then I'll be able to sell it for more, when in reality, maybe they don't want to be the face of the business, right?
Right.
But we look at, a business website. If we just take our feelings out of it for a second, and we just think about, well, okay, what's the second most clicked page on a website? Do you know the answer to this, Desmond?
The about or the team, which one?
It's the team.
Right.
It's the team, and most people would think it's the services, right?
Yeah.
People are
prices,
they're more concerned about who is providing the product or services than the actual technical specifications of the services themselves, right?
Right.
That's a very telling stat when we launch a business website that, of course, the homepage is the most clicked on website because everything generally funnels into the homepage. But after that, when they get to that menu bar, the most likely thing that they're going to click on that menu bar
is the about
is the team.
Yeah.
Is the team. They want to see the faces and the bios of the people who are actually providing the products and services. And so that becomes a big challenge then when you're trying to build one of these faceless businesses, because you heard in some book somewhere that you're not going to be able to sell your business if you have your face on the website.
Yeah, or if the brand is revolving just around you and your name, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Have you seen business owners actually sell their businesses, even though, like, say, the guy, say Gary Keller, for example, he wrote the book, The One Thing, and so, Keller Williams, right? So, Keller is his name.
Yeah.
Now, if he retired and he wanted to sell that business, does the company have to change the name altogether, or can they still sell the business?
They can still sell the business. I mean, you just look at like Professionalvaluators when they're coming in and evaluating a business for sale for the bank and what the bank's going to lend to them.
Yeah.
I mean, do they care if that person is no longer in the brand? It's a consideration.
Yeah.
But it's not even close to the top of the list. The top of the list is the profitability of that business that's being bought or sold.
Right. Is it scalable? Yeah.
The sales of that business, the other people in the team of that business, how many customers we have, how
intellectual properties and other things.
All of that ranks so much higher in the process as opposed to, is that business owner's face on the web page and are they going to have to replace that?
Which is kind of just falls under maybe goodwill. Is that under the goodwill that gets evaluated?
It can be. I mean, there's the colloquial terms of what goodwill is, and then there's the technical terms of what CPAs would factor in of what goodwill is. But I mean, one face, it can be a barrier, right?
Yes.
To buying a business, but generally you can strategically replace one face with another, right?
Right.
You can't sell a business that doesn't have any sales, right? So, like we said before in other videos, where nothing happens until someone sells something, right?
Yep.
So we're already thinking about how to sell the business 10 years from now, but we're too scared to put our face on the website today so we
To
can
even
sell something today, right?
And build that trust, that know, like, and trust
That's
from
right.
the audience.
That's right. If they trust you, they'll buy from you, right?
Correct. So then, Josh, what can we learn from some of the big businesses that the small business owners can learn from? Like, let's talk about maybe the bigger brands like Michael Jordan, for example.
Yeah.
What can we learn from them?
Well, I mean, here it is. Everyone knows what the Nike Swoop means,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
It's a high quality sneaker. Right? As small business owners, we can only dream of having that sort of brand recognition someday, right? But what does Nike do? They pay Michael Jordan to be the face, right?
Correct. Okay.
So the companies with the biggest brand recognition in the world use celebrities' faces, right?
Right.
The small businesses, they can't afford always to go up and buy these celebrities, right?
Right. So what can someone do for that?
They generally need to appoint someone within the business to be the face, or multiple people within the business to be the face. But trying to be a faceless company that sells, it's like trying to win a drag race with a pickup truck. It's just not the right vehicle to do it in, right?
Now, I want to touch on something that you said, Josh, which is maybe someone who's watching this is an introvert.
Yeah.
Does that mean it's impossible for them to maybe appoint someone within their organization who's a little bit more extrovert, a little bit more outwardly, a little bit more charismatic, or has some showmanship to be the face of the business? And how do you mitigate that risk? Or do you spread that out over multiple people?
I personally, if you're not going to be the face yourself, I would spread it out over multiple people.
Okay.
It's not necessary that the business owner is the face. It's just we need faces to establish that trust.
Correct.
So people buy from people. Right?
Correct.
And so if you are not if you're not the business owner who wants to be on the camera, you can't avoid the human psychology that people just don't buy from logos. They buy from people, right? So if you want to appoint multiple people, I would suggest that a business that has multiple people involved is actually more valuable than that one solo person who's the sole face of the business. So getting the team members, involved, very important part in the process where, that's something that can be sold. I mean, that business owner can get hit by a bus tomorrow.
Correct, yeah, the whole hit by a bus theory, right? And then how do you mitigate that risk? If that one person, if the business goes down just because that face is now no longer available,
that's right.
How do you prevent against that?
That's right.
Okay.
So you can do both, right? You can recognize that faces and trust with those faces generate sales.
Yep.
And then the next part about it is making sure that it's a business that doesn't just depend on one person, right?
Right.
There are multiple people involved. This becomes, kind of the holy grail. We're generating sales today.
Yes.
And we're also creating something that can be sold in the future as well.
Makes sense. Now, Josh, in fact, I've got a good friend by the name of, Jay Cron, right? And he's the president of Kajabi. So Kajabi is a very large, corporation, but they were just growing not too long ago. And if you go take a look at the Kajabi YouTube channel as well too, and their videos, they put up multiple videos with different faces on it.
Yeah.
Similar with HubSpot as well too, run by Brian Halligan and the founder. I think he started about 15 years ago, and they've grown to about $500 million.
Yeah.
And if you look at their training videos, they have different faces on there. Right, Brian's not always the only guy doing it, because if something happens to Brian, then what happens? So they've got other faces on their marketing as well too. Is that what you're suggesting to business owners too?
Yeah, you start watching, watch Dave Ramsey's YouTube channel, right? He will start to have other people actually doing the videos for him. He knows that he's trying to build a saleable entity. He wants to build something that lasts beyond himself, right?
That he can step away from, or in the rare event that he gets sick or something happens to him, the business can still continue, right?
That's right. But what we want to avoid is it's hard enough to be the new guy on the block.
Yes.
It's hard enough being the new guy selling security cameras on the block.
Right.
And then to try to do that without leveraging the human element,
right?
It becomes very, very difficult to do. So there's no reason you have to fight that battle. You can do both.
Yeah, so you don't have to be a total branded face, and you also don't have to be a face, well, you don't want to be a faceless brand.
That's right. People they're too concerned about what's the name on the Instagram handle, right? And they're not concerned enough about, hey, we just need faces that people trust. I mean, that's the secret sauce. Whether it's called, Josh Spurrell Accounting or Spurrell and Associates CPAs, is kind of irrelevant, right? It's just, are there faces there that people eventually trust, right? Associated with these business, right? You know, Nike could show the swoosh all day long.
Yeah.
They're not going to. They're going to show you faces of famous athletes,
People that we know and trust.
who you will trust, so you will believe that that shoe is actually as good as they say it is.
Correct. All right, Josh, so those have been very helpful, and in this video series, you've been giving lots of tips. By the way, if you love these videos, tips, and you have extra additional questions for Josh, do comment in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button as well too. I will pin Josh down and make sure that he actually answers your questions, or perhaps even shoots a follow-up video to give you more information on this topic. Josh, what are some action items that the viewer can actually put in place right now? What's the number one thing, if you could be in their shoes, you would do yourself right now?
Take some pictures of your team.
Okay.
Get those pictures on the map listing, on the Google My Business listing, get them on the website.
Right.
Write some bios on the website.
Yep.
Make it, develop that trust, right? I literally just a couple weeks ago, we pulled up the bios of our competitors from competing accounting firms.
Right.
And it said, John Smith graduated from University of Alberta in 1991. Stop. That's the end of the bio.
Right.
I had my guys writing bios, telling them where they were born, what it was like to immigrate to Canada, what type of poetry that they like. And it's fun. It's interesting. Not just what the professional credentials are, but who they were doing business with.
Make it personalized a bit, right? So
customers want to feel comfortable, and you as a business owner too. You want to attract the right people, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to sell them on this logo, and then this person steps in there, and that person is not connected to that logo. It's a bad experience for everybody. So get the people on the website, get them on your social media channels. People buy from people.
Phenomenal. If you'd like to get more advice from Josh as well too, he does provide a consultation for those who qualify. If you're a business owner, check out the website at spurrell.ca. That's SPURRELL.ca. And we will see you in the next episode.